Mask up or pay up, the tough new stance as the southwest Sydney cluster grows and a wedding venue's fined for a major breach. Testing capacity boosted in Queensland and Victoria as one of Melbourne's busiest shopping centres is exposed. An out-of-control bus leaves a trail of destruction, a ute, power pole and home in its path. Crowd capacity slashed, the new rules for the SCG test. And Aussies doing what we do best, the soldiers lending a helping hand to a school, community and country in need.
This is 9 News.
Good afternoon, I'm Kate Creedon. For the first time in almost 3 weeks, New South Wales has recorded 0 cases of community transmission. All 7 infections reported today have been traced back to travellers in hotel quarantine. That milestone short-lived though. 2 cases were reported after 8 p.m. last night to be included in tomorrow's numbers. They've been identified as a man and a woman, both in their 40s, both linked to the Barella cluster in Sydney's west.
There have been 2 cases overnight. One, a gentleman in his 40s who visited the BWS Barella on the 24th of December. And another case, a female in her 40s who also has some association with the BWS and the Woolworths at Barella, but those investigations are ongoing.
And today marks day 1 of mandatory masks being enforced in Greater Sydney, with police to issue $200 fines to those who don't comply. Crowd numbers at this week's Sydney cricket test have been hard, scaled back to allow just 10,000 fans in response to COVID concerns. Cricket Australia made significant changes to the seating plan to comply with social distancing rules. The match will be re-ticketed in just under an hour, and we'll explain how the resale will impact spectators later in the bulletin. Victoria has recorded 3 new locally acquired cases of coronavirus, and there's a warning out this afternoon with 2 big shopping centres in Melbourne added to the hotspot list. Reid Butler joins us now. Reid, what's the advice?
Kate, to stay alert and to monitor for symptoms and to get tested if any of those symptoms develop. Get tested straight away. The 2 shopping centres that we're talking about here today is Chadstone Shopping Centre and Southlander. Chadstone, a Boost Juice worker, tested positive. They last worked on site on Tuesday last week between 6 and 11 p.m. The outlet has been closed and the shopping centre has undergone a deep clean. Now at Southland, more high-risk exposure sites have been added. They include Myer, Kmart, Coles, Specsavers and Cotton On. Now, for full details and times and locations, head to the DHH website there and, as I said, monitor for those symptoms. The 3 new locally acquired cases in Victoria today are all linked to the Black Rock cluster. That cluster now stands at 24. We've also had 1 extra case in hotel quarantine, but it's a stoush over quarantine for international Australian Open tennis players that is causing controversy in Victoria today. Those tennis players were due to spend their 2 weeks quarantine at the Western Hotel in the CBD. Now, that whole tournament could now actually be delayed because of legal action that's been launched by the owners of 36 residential penthouse apartments in that complex. They don't want to share the building with the international arrivals. They say it poses a health risk. Here is one of those owners now, Digby Lewis.
It's like someone coming to your house at home, wherever you live, knocking on your door, and saying, hello, how do you do? There'll be 3 tennis players stopping here tomorrow night for 14 days. We'll use the front door and you use the back door. Thanks very much.
Now, the government has defended its decision to house those international tennis arrivals in the Western Hotel. They say it's all above board and that they have acted on health advice, but legal action has been launched today and there could very likely be a delay to the tournament because of that. So it's one to watch. Kate?
Reid Butler with the very latest from Melbourne. Thank you. Australian workers hardest hit by the pandemic are receiving less financial help from the federal government from today as JobKeeper is wound back. Fiona Willan has all the reaction from Canberra. Fee, how much are the payments being reduced?
Well, Kate, it all depends on how many hours you work. So if you're a full-timer, it'll go down by $200 a fortnight to $1,000. For those on fewer than 20 hours a week, it'll drop from $750 a fortnight to $650. And the program will end altogether on March 28. Now, the government has long made the point that this is temporary support, but Labor and the business community are calling for it to be continued at the higher rate in light of the latest outbreaks in Victoria and New South Wales.
At the very time that restrictions are going up and therefore economic activity going down, the government's support goes down today.
As we've always said with these emergency supports, that they were targeted, they were scalable, and we wanted to make sure that we remained responsive to what was going on in the economy.
Now, the Social Services Minister also said the government would continue to monitor the economy to make sure the support being provided is appropriate. More than 500,000 businesses are still relying on these wage subsidies to pay their staff, so that works out to around 1.6 million workers receiving them. That number might soon change, though. As of today, businesses will need to satisfy another turnover test to prove they're still suffering enough of a downturn to qualify for the program. Kate.
Fee Willen, thanks for the update. Utter destruction as a bus crashes into a home, smashing cars and sending bins flying across the street. How did this happen? The property market starting the new year on a high. Find out which areas have seen the most growth and whether it will last into 2021. Thousands break the rules at a pool party in Florida as experts are forced to clear up outrageous claims by the president. And roads flooded and trees uprooted. Communities on alert as Cyclone Imogen makes landfall.
It's a brand new year, Agent K. Our mission is clear: make 2021 the biggest,
best,
greatest year ever.
Morning, Agent B.
K. A.
K. A? Where's T? MIA?
QLD. Okay.
Yep, it's going to be a blockbuster year, all right.
Every Australian waking up with the best breakfast news. Button up.
I mean, nobody does it better.
I'll tell you what, K, I am pumped for this.
It's going to be our best year ever.
What, you mean better than this year? Well, I guess it has been a dog of a year.
There's one more thing. We have to erase all memory of 2020. 36.1.
Not as hot as I thought I was.
The Today Show, Australia's most talked about breakfast show.
Say hello to weight loss success with Jenny Craig.
Now it's even easier to reach your weight loss goals with Jenny Craig.
Start today with our free 8-week membership, plus free delivery, cost of food additional.
So call Jenny Craig now.
Is it downsizing responsibilities or upsizing your lifestyle? Discover the benefits of active lifestyle resort living. Explore our Queensland resorts today at gemlife.com.au.
When something goes wrong and you're injured on the road, you need the right advice. Contact Shine Lawyers to access compensation through your superannuation.
Yeah, I've heard Shine can help.
Shine Lawyers, let's right wrong.
Aldi's back to school range passes the kid test. With comfy joggers only $7.99 and assorted paints only 99 cents each. Kid-proof school gear at Aldi's low prices. That's good different.
Did somebody say menu love?
Me, get delivery like a G. See, hungry dogs gotta eat. I get mines every day, every week. Chicken wings to the crib, I'm sitting in. Tacos to the chateau, please. Did somebody say menu love? Private jetting in the night sky. My man hand glide by with my fried rice. Ride, MENULOG.
Did somebody say menu love?
Tough times don't excuse tougher times at home. Even in crisis, there's no place for abuse or domestic violence. If you're worried about your actions or relationship, help is available online and by phone 24/7. For free confidential advice and counselling, contact Men's Line. There's no place for abuse or domestic violence. Help is here. Authorised by the Australian Government, Canberra.
My family's seen a big difference. It's just amazing. My energy's better. I'm standing taller. I'm smiling a lot more because, let's face it, when you're in pain all the time, you can't help but, grimace. And here I am now, training and as fit and pain-free as I've been in a long, long time. And I tell you what, I am so grateful to the team at the Good Feet store. And for me now, I can do so much more with my family.
See for yourself with a free personalised arch support fitting at the Good Feet store.
2 men are critical and 4 others seriously injured after the car they were travelling in smashed into a tree east of Melbourne. The Toyota Tarago was travelling along D Road in Millgrove when the driver in his 20s veered off the road, hitting a tree around 10:30 last night.
The front 2 passengers, the driver and the other front passenger, have been airlifted to the Alfred Hospital with very serious injuries at this stage, and the other 4 rear occupants have been transported by road ambulance to various Alfred and or the Royal Melbourne.
Police are investigating the cause of the crash. With all the ups and downs of 2020, new data has revealed property values in most capital cities ended the year on a high. But what's the market expected to do in 2021? We're joined this afternoon by Tim Lawless, Head of Research at CoreLogic. Tim, many homeowners chose to hold off selling during the height of the pandemic. Is that likely to pay off?
Hi, Kate. Well, for people that did decide to sell through 2020, we have seen prices rise through the second half of the year. For those people that held off, they're probably going to get a better price now than what they would have halfway through 2020. So chances are, with national housing values having risen by 3% over the 2020 calendar year, we'll continue to see prices rising at least over the first half of 2021 due to the fact that interest rates are going to remain extremely low.
So are we expected to see the same growth this year as we saw in 2020?
2021 will probably see prices rise further. We are expecting a full year of growth rather than just half a year, which is what essentially we saw in 2020. I think housing prices nationally will probably rise somewhere between about 7 and 10%, maybe a little bit more than that in some of the smaller capital cities, a little bit less in the larger capitals that are more reliant on overseas migration as a source of housing demand.
Now, for those looking to buy this year, where can they expect to get good value for money?
Well, the apartment market is the region or the product type that hasn't seen very much growth at all. We are expecting house values to rise a lot more than apartments. So for people looking for, say, a townhome or a villa or an inner city apartment for that matter, chances are they'll probably find prices remain relatively stable, potentially even moving a little bit lower, suggesting better value for money. But if you're looking around the different capital cities of the country, we're still seeing the cheapest housing markets are in those areas that underperformed over the past 5 years. Markets like Perth and Darwin are much more affordable than the most expensive markets like Sydney and Melbourne.
And perhaps if you are thinking of selling this year, when would be a good time to do that? Do you sell now or towards the end of the year?
Well, generally the best time to sell is according to everybody's own plan. You know, at the moment there's not a lot of stock available for sale, so selling conditions are generally geared towards the seller, not the buyer at the moment. It's absolutely a seller's market. So I think chances are we will continue to see stock levels quite low, simply due to the fact that buyer demand is going to remain quite strong, thanks to the incentives of very low interest rates, generally strong confidence.
We'll be watching the market very closely. Thanks for joining us, Tim Lawless from CoreLogic.
Thanks, Kate.
Let's have a quick check of the weather right now in Brisbane. It's 28 degrees in the city, a touch cooler on the Gold Coast, 27. It's 23 degrees on Sydney Harbour, 24 in Penrith. And in Melbourne, it's 18 degrees in the city and in Avalon. We'll have your full forecast a little later in the Bulletin. New research reveals just how much parents are being slugged for school supplies and how you can save money. Australia arrives in Sydney ahead of the third test. Captain Mitchell Pearce a no-show at the night's first training session of the year. And the singer of one of the world's most famous sporting anthems passes away.
Tonight, health alert, Queenslanders answering the COVID testing call. Cyclone Imogen makes impact. Tonight, destruction and deluge when the big wet will arrive in the southeast. Crash and dash video, the car thieves on the run. And tonight, back to school savings for parents. 9 News tonight at 6.
Australia, let's shake off 2020 and say hello to weight loss success with Jenny Craig.
I don't think I could have lost weight without Jenny Craig. I love the taste and the convenience of the food.
Now it's even easier to reach your weight loss goals with Jenny Craig. Get support in one of our centres or over the phone. You can order your food online for home delivery or choose click and collect.
Start today with our free 8-week membership, plus free delivery. Cost of food additional.
So call Jenny Craig now.
There's nothing better than the Titan garage or shed, son. Except when you get a stainless steel workbench free with every garage or shed purchase. And it's just like the butchers use. Remember, Titan are the manufacturer. You know the name, you know the quality, and the factory is right here in Brisbane. Plans, council, slabs, installation, they can handle the lot. And right now you get a stainless steel workbench free with every garage or shed purchase.
Call 13 27 36 for the Titan Display Centre near you.
You'll be lucky you got a Titan.
When selling your home, choosing an agent can be hard.
Local Agent Finder.
At Local Agent Finder, you can compare agents' sales history, commission rates and more. Be confident. Compare agents. Visit localagentfinder.com.au.
If you have an ongoing disability or other condition that stops you living independently in your own home, you can seek assistance through the Queensland Community Support Scheme. Call Life Without Barriers, 1800 935 483.
At APIA, we're all about possibilities. So if you're driving less, we offer comprehensive motor insurance with a drive less, pay less discount. APIA, get set, go. Call 13 50 50.
Aldi's back-to-school range passes the kid test. With comfy joggers only $7.99 and assorted paints only 99 cents each. Kid-proof school gear at Aldi's low prices. That's good different.
A claim through your super after an injury might feel hard, but no matter when you need us, with skill, commitment and care, from a lawyer of your choice, moving forward to a better tomorrow is easier than you think. With Slater and Gordon, tomorrow starts today.
When you've got a lot on the boil, books pretty much get the chop. But Audible can help you fit them back into your life, even when you're cooking up a storm.
Bread, wine and books.
Audible! With over 400,000 audiobooks. Sorry. It's books that fit with real life. Or soz, that's me. You know what it's like. Oh, there's another one. And another one.
Download the Audible app to enjoy best-selling audiobooks and exclusive podcasts.
Was the People's Princess conned into telling all?
This is earth-shattering.
Revenge of a Princess, coming soon to 9.
A South West Sydney wedding venue company is facing thousands of dollars in fines after breaching a public health order by allowing hundreds of people into a reception over the weekend. Reporter Laura Tunstall has the details.
Well, police were called here to the Imperial Paradiso function room on Saturday night after concerns about the size of a wedding. When officers arrived, they found up to 700 guests here inside. Now, on Saturday, the maximum guests allowed at weddings was 350 under the 1 per 4 square metre rule. So a number of guests were asked to leave. Now, police have issued the licensee of the venue with a $5,000 fine, and the police minister is furious.
I cannot believe that any sound person in this state in 2021 doesn't understand what their obligations are. And this wasn't a dozen people turning up to Christmas lunch unannounced. This was twice the amount of people that were allowed to attend this venue. I'm actually quite disgusted that anybody would put their community at risk that way.
Now, this wedding venue is just 10 kilometres away from Sydney's latest COVID cluster at Baralla. Police are urging members of the community to dob in anybody that they think could be breaching COVID restrictions.
A man has been killed when fire ripped through a house at Kyabram in northern Victoria. Another resident, a man in his 40s, narrowly escaped after trying to save his housemate. The blaze so intense, the sound woke neighbours.
To me, the way the windows just went bang, it was like a bomb going off. That's how intense the fire was.
Police are now looking into how it started. Cyclone Imogen has made landfall. The Category 1 system crossing the coast at 9 o'clock last night in North Queensland, bringing strong winds and heavy rain to the region, with the deluge expected to last a few more days before moving down the coast. The system has now been downgraded to a tropical low. While much of the attention is on the location of the fourth test, Australia needs to avoid defeat at the SCG to stay alive in the series. Delisa Apps has more.
Well, after days of uncertainty, Australia's cricketers have finally touched down in Sydney, and Thursday's Test match is full steam ahead. But the bigger problem for Cricket Australia is the Gabba Test match. India reportedly aren't happy about the strict quarantine protocols they'll face in Queensland. Nathan Lyon has urged any cricketer complaining about life in the bubble to suck it up.
In my eyes, it's a very small sacrifice for us to get out there and play the game that we love and put a lot of smiles on a lot of people's faces around the world. So in my eyes, we just have to suck it up.
On the field, Australia's batting stocks will be, of course, likely bolstered by the return of David Warner from a groin injury. By his own admission, Warner says he probably won't be 100% fit, but Lyon says he's worth the risk.
I think David's an X factor. He's a world-class batter. We all know that. So, yeah, I'm 100% expecting David to go out there in the next couple of test matches and do well.
And news just in, it's been revealed all Australian and Indian players and staff inside the bubble have tested negative to COVID-19 following a bubble breach by 5 Indian players who visited a Melbourne restaurant. The third test is a must-win for Australia to keep the series alive, and it all starts on Thursday at the SCG.
Sydney Thunder is readying itself for a meeting with the Heat tonight at the Gabba. The Thunder sit second on the BBL ladder, having only made finals twice in the 9 previous seasons.
It's a group that gets along with each other as well, really well, which helps. But yeah, as you said, we've got great depth in the fast bowling ranks, and I think we've got great depth across the entire squad, to be honest.
The Sixers move back to the top of the ladder after a 7-wicket win against the Strikers. With a texting scandal embroiling the Knights, captain Mitchell Pearce was a notable absence today. Sam Jordan was in Newcastle as the club returned for season 2021.
All eyes were to be on Mitchell Pearce when the Knights returned to training this afternoon, but Newcastle's captain was nowhere to be seen. Instead, he's been given a few more days off amid the fallout from the texting scandal that saw the cancellation of his wedding.
It's not acceptable, there's no doubt about that. That's something that we're all striving for, is that the word culture is very much used in different areas, but that culture word for us is very important.
Pearce will be back later in the week, but there are a number of questions for the Knights moving forward. While the club insists that he will remain in Newcastle for season 2021, the contract extension that was seemingly secured has now been thrown into doubt, while he is expected to be stripped of the captaincy.
We have got some good candidates for leadership within that group, but that'll be for Adam and his team, more importantly, to work out which way the captaincy will go.
Now, the parties involved in this texting scandal do have close links to the playing group, leading to suggestions of a rift within the squad. As 9 News understands, it has caused damage, but as to a rift, well, the players certainly talked that down today.
We're the type of group, and we've got a lot of older heads and straight up aggressive people. If there was a split, we'd address it straight away, but honestly, there's not at all. Yeah.
The timing of this incident has been far from ideal for the Knights. Bosses were hoping that all of today's attention would be on the unveiling of representative forward Tyson Frizzell. But instead, his first training run has been overshadowed by a messy off-field saga that will continue for a few days yet.
Queensland Origin star Harry Grant says he hopes to remain contracted to the Storm, even with Cameron Smith's playing future still uncertain.
He's still on his book tour, but I think, Smithy's probably got a few more weeks and then they'll go from there. Yeah, I'm still here. I've got a few more years at Storm, so yeah, I'm just excited to be back down here and hopefully we can stay put here for the season.
Melbourne plays South Sydney in the season opener on March 11. Despite an opening match week loss, the Wanderers are confident their rapid rebuild will soon start producing results. Ahead of a trip to Newcastle, new goalkeeper Daniel Margush is grateful the red and black block is now on his side.
From afar, looking outside of the club, the Wanderers fans have always been top notch. So now that I'm actually on their side and they're not heckling me behind the goal, it's actually pretty good.
Central Coast has won their opening 2 games for the first time in 14 years. The Mariners lead the league after the 2-0 triumph at Macarthur. It's a sad day for Liverpool fans following the death of You'll Never Walk Alone singer Jerry Marsden. His band Jerry and the Pacemakers made the track famous, adopted by football supporters all over the world, even here in Australia, with this rendition at the MCG in 2013 by 95,000 fans. Jerry Marsden was 78. Coming up after the break for our regional and Gold Coast viewers, Millionaire Hot Seat, followed by 9 News Local at 5:30. For everyone else, Sydney's first day of 0 community cases in 3 weeks, but it's no time for celebration. A supercharged testing push in Victoria as the state scrambles to get on top of its growing cluster. Mass refunds for the Sydney test as Cricket Australia caves to COVID restrictions. The smoking gun audio exposes the lengths Donald Trump is going to overturn the election result. A police hunt across Western Sydney after a man was left for dead at a petrol station. And Mark Wahlberg setting his sights on Australia, and it's not for a movie.
We're talking MDMA, cocaine.
Who is really caring for your kids?
You've got people that are centre hopping, that are using drugs on the weekend. It's a recipe for disaster.
The frustrated daycare owner calling for nationwide drug tests on staff.
We need to know our children are being looked after properly.
A current affair tonight.
At APIA, we're all about possibilities. So if you're driving less, we offer comprehensive motor insurance with a drive less, pay less discount. APIA, get set, go. Call 13 50 50.
It's all about you, about choices and possibilities, from inspiration to installation. Our experienced designers listen so they understand what you need and want, then exceed your expectations. We'll design, price and organise everything in one easy appointment. We'll work with you to create your dream kitchen, one that will last for many years to come. That's why we offer a 10-year warranty. Visit a Kitchen Connection showroom or arrange an obligation-free appointment online. Your beautiful new kitchen is right here. Kitchen Connection, where it all comes together.
Just take it all in stride. Take the worries off your mind. Let it disappear out of sight, out of mind. It just takes time.
Don't run out of data this summer with Vodafone's $30 prepaid plus plan. Get a huge 40 gigabytes total data on your first 3 recharges, then infinite data to browse at speeds of up to 1.5 megabits per second until your recharge expires. You rule with Vodafone.
Don't miss our favourite ogre live on stage in Shrek the Musical, starring Ben Mingay, Lucy Durack, Todd McKenney and Marsha Hines. A multi-million-dollar musical that's as funny as the film. Book now at QPAC.
The difference in performance is like driving a bus, then a Ferrari.
Another real review from a satisfied Aussie broadband customer. With thousands of 5-star reviews, all Australian support and an award-winning NBN network. It's time to join life in the fast lane. Aussie broadband, can't beat feedback.
At Coles, you can slice, dice and prep like a pro with free chef quality knives. You'll earn a knife credit for every $20 you spend in one transaction when you scan your Flybuys card. Plus, get a bonus knife credit when you purchase selected products from participating brands. There's a knife for every cooking occasion for you to collect. Start earning bonus credits to complete your chef quality knife collection. Coles, value the Australian way.
Find me. Australia's Harriet Dyer sees what no one else can.
If you want to leave here, I can help you.
The In-Between, Wednesday 8:30 on 9 and on 9 Now.
For the first time since December 17, New South Wales has reported 0 new cases of community transmissions from more than 22,000 tests. Nine's Charles Croucher has been following developments on this throughout the day and joins me now on the desk. Charles, it's a terrific milestone, but as we heard from the acting Premier this morning, it won't last long.
Short-lived. We won't have 0 again tomorrow. We know that already, Kate, and that's because in the time between 8 p.m. last night, that's when the reporting period cuts off, and this morning there were 2 confirmed cases, and they were both linked back to that BWS. That has now seen a cluster emerge in the city's west and southwest, and that's what's got health authorities really concerned because it's difficult to trace. And they're now looking at anyone that went to that BWS between the 22nd of December and the 31st of December to isolate for 14 days. And beyond that, any household contacts of those people that may have ducked into the bottle shop. Don't forget Christmas and New Year's week, so a busy period. Also to isolate and take a test. Now, those that went to the liquor store have to isolate for 14 days regardless, the close contacts, just until their test comes back negative. So there is still a great deal of concern. There'll be no lockdowns in the city's west or our southwest. The acting Premier made that very clear, but also no changes to the northern beaches at the moment, despite that 0 number in the last 24 hours.
Yeah, well, certainly a lot of people isolating in our west. Health authorities are also concerned about testing numbers.
Yeah, that's going to be the big test moving forward, will be the testing numbers. Kerry Chand, our Chief Health Officer, said that the 22,275 that we had today was an improvement on yesterday, but not enough. What authorities want to see is 30,000 plus. Well, we don't, we dream of getting back up to the days when we had beyond 60,000. They were the amazing results of the first times of the outbreak of this cluster. The key to getting back to some form of normality is for the next few weeks, as we get into the sort of 12th, 13th and 14th days since potential infections, is seeing those testing numbers continue to stay high. Here is the Chief Health Officer.
My message to everybody, even though today we are talking about a 0 day of locally acquired cases, it is important that we keep that testing regime up, and that is my message. Knowing that already overnight there are 2 cases that will be part of tomorrow's official announcement.
So that's John Barilaro there. Really positive news, 0 case numbers, but the testing needs to go up, and there are more areas of concern. A screening of the crudes out of Auburn, also some places around Lidcombe have just been added to the list. We expect to see more tonight. So there are lots of places on that list, as you said, lots of people isolating, but also lots of reason for optimism heading forward.
Yeah, those numbers will be really interesting tomorrow. Charles Croucher, thanks for joining us. Today is also the first day police will enforce mask wearing across Greater Sydney. We'll find out if people are complying with the new rules later in the Bulletin. 3 new cases have emerged connected to the Black Rock cluster in Victoria as long queues cause frustration at testing sites. Stephanie Anderson has the latest.
Well, Victorians are certainly answering the call to go out and get tested as authorities continue to deal with the growing COVID cluster here in Melbourne, and extra resources are being brought into sites like this one to help cope with demand. Testing teams were repeatedly overwhelmed on the weekend, forced to turn large numbers away. So today some weren't taking any chances, turning out well before facilities opened to ensure they were able to get their swab.
I got up at about 5:30 to get here by 6. I was here a couple of days ago and I just couldn't get in, and then yesterday I didn't bother.
When did you first try to get in?
Yesterday and the day before.
And you've been turned away twice?
Yep.
Just wanted to beat the rush. The tens of thousands of Victorians who've returned home from New South Wales and are required to get tested are significantly boosting the demand, but are also among those who've missed out multiple times.
I think it's very frustrating when they tell us that we need to get tested within 24 hours, but then there's no facility to be able to do that.
Yesterday, more than 32,000 test results were processed, 10,000 more than the day before, and new centres and capacity has been called in. But with the confirmed case numbers also increasing, the government's response is being heavily scrutinised.
The government had 10 months to plan for this. They had one job, and they couldn't do it.
We, as I indicated, are prioritising primary close contacts to get tested. So yes, we do monitor. We do monitor the location of where the tests are taken and the numbers at in each local government area very carefully to make sure that we are seeing a good spread of testing right across the state, whilst pushing in harder in those areas where we know we have extra exposure.
While thousands are having to spend hours sitting in the car waiting to get swabbed, the state government says the turnaround for test results is at 24 hours for about 86% of those patients.
Now to Rachel Baxter in Queensland, where health authorities are bolstering COVID testing capabilities.
Well, more testing clinics have been opened, staff numbers doubled and opening hours extended amid fears people who should be getting tested for COVID-19 in Queensland aren't. These are the scenes from yesterday, queues kilometres long, some people waiting 6 hours at testing sites like the Royal Brisbane and Women's Hospital. It comes, of course, after health advice from Queensland's Chief Health Officer, Dr Jeanette Young, urging anyone who's been in Victoria on or since December 21 to self-quarantine immediately and get tested after a cluster connected to the Northern Beaches outbreak continues to grow in Melbourne. 83 testing clinics are now open across the state, with 24 here in the southeast.
Can I thank people for their patience in getting tested, but can I assure Queenslanders and others that we are providing more testing facilities for them. We've opened more clinics on the Gold Coast, on the Sunshine Coast and in Brisbane.
While our border still remains open to New South Wales and Victoria, health authorities are now urging Queenslanders to reconsider their need to leave the state.
And I recommend very strongly that any Queenslander intending to travel down to Victoria just reconsider that need for travel. And if you do need to go, make sure you keep fully aware of what is happening in Victoria.
Greater Sydney is still considered to be a hotspot, with that decision to be reviewed on January 8.
Thousands of cricket fans will miss out on watching the Sydney Test at the SCG after crowd capacity for the event was halved. Reporter Bill Hogan has the details.
The Sydney Test has been given the green light at the SCG, but capacity has been sliced in half, with 25% allowed into the SCG for the match on January 7. What was originally planned for around 24,000 people piling through the gates, now only 10,000 fans can attend each day. The decision came late this afternoon, with Cricket Australia making the cut. They say it's for the safety of the spectators.
We've had to be flexible, we've had to be nimble. We've relied on the support of the health authorities, but it's been the same principles that we've applied all summer. We want to deliver the entire summer as scheduled, if at all possible. We have a range of contingencies in place for any eventuality.
Now, Acting Premier John Barilaro defended the decision to allow crowds into the summer spectacle that would normally draw more than 40,000 fans. He says New South Wales Health is more than equipped to deal with these crowds.
And as a state and our venues, like the NRL Grand Final, Origin or the Everest or other race days, the Big Bash, we can and we have shown that we can run events in this state in a safe way that protects our citizens.
Australia touched down in Sydney only moments ago ahead of the Test match on Thursday. They were ushered straight to their hotels, where they'll stay until the game begins. Only training sessions will be a reasonable excuse to leave that quarantine area. India are also due to arrive later on today. Now, the biggest challenge for Cricket Australia on the day will be the rain, with it forecast to pour during the Thursday Test. But Venues New South Wales said they control the crowd if people were to move indoors.
Two Good Samaritans who ran to the aid of a bus driver suffering a medical episode have accidentally sent the bus flying into the front of a home south of Sydney. Here's reporter Caitlin Steadman.
3 people have been transported to hospital after a bus carrying 3 passengers crashed into this house in Cordo Heights just after 10 a.m. Witnesses say the driver suffered a medical episode and watched on in shock as he lost control of the bus. 2 off-duty nurses broke onto the bus and tried to render assistance.
They've turned the motor off, which seems to have inhibited some kind of hold mechanism on it, and the bus has rolled back probably 250 metres.
Hitting the power pole, the bus then turned and went straight for the house, knocking a structural beam below the veranda. Inside the home were 2 occupants, but they luckily escaped without injury.
It was quite scary to watch this big
bus rolling down this hill and thinking, is there someone down there? Is there a car coming up that doesn't realise this bus is out of control?
The nurses and bus driver have been transported to Wollongong Hospital. No one on board the bus was injured. Emergency crews spent some time stabilising the house. The power pole is now being replaced before the bus is towed and an extensive clean-up gets underway.
Police are appealing for public assistance after a man was left unconscious on the side of the road in a vicious assault in Sydney's west overnight. Grace Fitzgibbon has the details.
Well, paramedics arrived here at this service station on Vaughan Street in Lidcombe to find a 24-year-old man who had suffered serious head injuries. He was rushed to Westmead Hospital and placed in an induced coma. Police deemed his injuries suspicious and viewed security footage from the service station which showed the 24-year-old had been in an altercation with another man who fled the scene.
There was a verbal altercation first, and then which led to a physical altercation. It is totally against the community standards that we have here in the Auburn Police Area Command, and the community, I think, once we release this vision and they watch it, they'll be disgusted by the actions of the person of interest.
As part of their inquiries, officers wish to speak to a man they believe could help with the investigation. He's described as being of Asian appearance with a medium build, around 30 years old and short black hair.
The United States has marked a horrific milestone, reporting more than 350,000 coronavirus deaths. President Trump was quick to respond, tweeting that number is far exaggerated and accusing the nation's chief infectious diseases expert, Dr. Anthony Fauci, of spreading fake news.
The deaths are real deaths. I mean, all you need to do is to go out into the trenches, go to the hospitals, see what the healthcare workers are dealing with. That's real. That's not fake.
Trump had to have the last word, taking to Twitter again to respond to Dr. Fauci's comments, saying he is revered by lamestream media. And it seems the horrific death toll hasn't sunk in. In Florida, Miami, thousands were captured shoulder to shoulder at a hotel at a pool party yesterday. Staying in the US, a remarkable audio has been leaked of Donald Trump pressuring top election officials in Georgia to overturn the result of the November election. Here's Nine's US correspondent, Amelia Adams.
This is a stunning move by President Trump. Yesterday's phone call was leaked by the Washington Post. It went for over an hour, and in it, Donald Trump clearly pressures and pushes Georgia's Republican Secretary of State to find votes, to find a way to overturn the results of the presidential election in that state.
I just want to find 11,780 votes, which is one more than we have, because we won the state. And there's nothing wrong with saying that, that you've recalculated.
Well, Mr. President, the challenge that you have is the data you have is wrong.
Brad Raffensperger standing firm despite the president at times threatening him with vague legal consequences. Reaction has been swift. One of the journalists who broke Watergate calling this the smoking gun tape.
And in any other presidency, this tape would be evidence enough to result in the impeachment of the President of the United States, his conviction.
He's not the only person to mention impeachment, and one of Joe Biden's senior advisors says there's now irrefutable proof of a president pressuring and threatening an official of his own party to fabricate the vote count. The call comes just 2 days before Georgia hosts elections to determine which party holds the majority in the US Senate. It also coincides with new members of Congress and the House being sworn in today, ahead of a critical and already dramatic week on Capitol Hill.
Celebrities often dish out interesting side projects, and for actor Mark Wahlberg, that's a multi-million-dollar burger chain called Wahlburgers. Teaming up with the owners of United Cinemas, the Hollywood A-lister is now bringing his famous fast food franchise down under. The first patty is expected to hit the fryer at Sydney's Circular Quay within months. An ominous sight, storm clouds roll in and the rain starts, the latest on this summer storm next. A humanitarian mission, the Australian soldiers lending a helping hand to help a community rebuild. hit hard how much the Northern Beaches lockdown cost the economy. And the vision that will make your palms sweat as two daredevils take a leap of faith. Tonight, health alert, Queenslanders answering the COVID testing call. Cyclone Imogen makes impact. Tonight, destruction and deluge when the big wet will arrive in the southeast. Crash and dash video, the car thieves on the run. And tonight, back to school savings for parents. 9 News tonight at 6.
Introducing Light and Easy's new Jumpstart Plus. Jumpstart Plus combines the proven weight loss results of intermittent eating with Light and Easy's delicious summer menu, plus a new app to track your success and help you achieve your goals.
I was really surprised with the results that I got with Light and Easy, and they do come quickly.
Every week I've consistently lost weight, and the new Jumpstart program really kick-started that for me.
Fast track your weight loss success in 2021 with Light and Easy's new Jumpstart Plus. Jump online today.
Nice Gerbers, Keith. You know what else is nice? Insurance that does what you need it to do. Some only insure your house for a set sum, but if anything happens, will that be enough for you to repair or rebuild it as it was?
Morning, Keith!
Don't worry, Amy has an option that does, or pays you the amount of an assessed quote to do so. Does your insurer have a complete replacement cover option? Amy does.
A claim through your super after an injury might feel hard, but no matter when you need us, with skill, commitment and care, from a lawyer of your choice, moving forward to a better tomorrow is easier than you think. With Slater & Gordon, tomorrow starts today.
Today we'll be offering...
They're gone. What do you mean they're gone?
The snacks.
They're gone, missing.
Well, they have to be here somewhere.
They're not here.
They can't just get up and walk away.
All right, only 13 more hours to go. You're gonna have to hold it.
Don't run out of data this summer with Vodafone's $30 prepaid plus plan. Get a huge 40 gigabytes total data on your first 3 recharges, then infinite data to browse at speeds of up to 1.5 megabits per second until your recharge expires. You rule with Vodafone.
Aldi's back-to-school range passes the kid test. With comfy joggers only $7.99 and assorted paints only 99 cents each. Kid-proof school gear at Aldi's low prices. That's good different.
Try Hungry Jack's Flame Grilled Big Jack? Then meet the new Chicken Big Jack with 2 crispy chicken patties and special sauce. Big Jack beef or Big Jack chicken. The burgers are better at Hungry Jack's.
Star-studded countdowns.
Oh my God! It all starts with reality TV shockers.
The hilarious 20 to 1, Tuesday on 9.
They've been mandated for nearly 48 hours, but as of today, anyone caught not wearing a mask indoors in Greater Sydney could be slapped with a fine. Reporter Sophie Walsh has the details.
Well, there's nothing like threatening people with a fine to get them to comply. Today is day 1 of mandatory masks being enforced across Greater Sydney, and a quick check of commuters heading into the city this morning found most people, around 90%, were playing by the rules. COVID clusters on the Northern Beaches and Barella prompted the New South Wales government to bow to pressure, making masks compulsory in a range of indoor settings, including shopping centres, cinemas, public transport, places of worship, hair and beauty salons and gaming venues. Police are issuing $200 fines from today for those who don't comply, although they won't be heavy-handed and say they will use discretion.
If you cannot wear a mask due to your medical condition, please, police are not going to take action against you. And please don't feel that you can't go out and about. And I would urge members of the community, when they actually see someone not wearing a mask, leave that judgment to police or to other enforcement officers.
The Australian Medical Association says while masks aren't the only line of defence against the virus, they're around 50% effective in stopping you from getting COVID, and if you've already got it, stopping you from passing it on.
They're not perfect at either of those things,
but studies that we have are suggesting around about the 50% efficacy mark, maybe a little bit more, in both preventing that spread and also preventing you catching the virus.
And while we've seen some anti-mask groups stage protests, one at Bondi Junction, civil libertarians say these laws aren't infringing on people's rights.
Look, it's a proportionate response to the public health crisis that we have, and it's not really a serious infringement of people's freedoms.
Today, the New South Wales Health Minister also sent a message to anyone who doesn't want to wear a mask. It's simple: stay home.
Now that the Northern Beaches cluster is finally under control, we're learning how much the COVID outbreak has damaged the community's economy. Accounting firm KPMG revealing $3.2 billion was lost last month because of the lockdown. It's predicted that will cut Australia's economic growth in the December quarter to 2.5%. A severe storm is smashing the coast of New South Wales this afternoon. The sky turned black over Sydney as the storm clouds rolled in a short time ago, bringing with them heavy rain and thunder. The storm cell is stretching as far north as Newcastle and down to Wollongong. The SES is warning of dangerous flash flooding in some areas over the coming hours. Residents are advised to move their cars from underneath trees and power lines and secure loose items around the home. We'll have full coverage in Sydney's 6 o'clock news. UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson has warned tougher lockdown measures could be on the horizon as infection rates in England reach a new record high. 9 Europe correspondent Ben Avery has the details from London.
Well, the UK opposition leader Keir Starmer is urging Boris Johnson to waste no time on this. He's saying that he should impose a third national lockdown within the next 24 hours to combat the skyrocketing number of COVID-19 cases, largely brought on by that new strain of coronavirus that's spreading across the country. There's been another 54,000 confirmed cases of coronavirus in the last 24 hours. The death toll in this country is now past 75,000. Boris Johnson has spoken in the last 24 hours. He has admitted that there are some tough times ahead, and he's hinted that there are some new restrictions on the way.
It may be that we need to do things in the next few weeks that will be tougher in many parts of the country. I'm fully reconciled to that.
Now, there is some more positive news for the UK, and that is that the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine will begin being rolled out in just the next few hours, tomorrow morning local time. Now, Australia has also ordered a large amount of doses of this particular vaccine. 53 million will be available should the vaccine be approved, with the rollout to begin in March.
It looks spectacular, a car engine exploding into flames, but it could have ended very badly in the wrong hands. Firefighters were extinguishing this blaze in a stolen car near Maitland in the New South Wales Hunter region when the high-pressure water reacted with the magnesium inside the engine, sending sparks shooting out of the bonnet. Hundreds of Australian Defence Force soldiers have arrived in cyclone-battered Fiji. A humanitarian mission is now underway to help the country rebuild following the devastation of Cyclone Yasa. Lauren Tomasi reports.
More than 600 Australian Defence Force soldiers are right now on board Australia's largest Navy ship, the HMAS Adelaide, on a multi-million-dollar humanitarian mission to aid cyclone-battered Fiji. Specialist medical and engineering teams will assist in delivering relief supplies along with helping clear debris from the cyclone and preparing for reconstruction. Tropical Cyclone Yasa was one of the strongest storm systems ever recorded. It made landfall on the island nation on December 17, carving a path of destruction and smashing the archipelago with wind gusts of up to 345 kilometres an hour. The storm killed 4 people, and while the full extent of the damage is still being assessed, dozens of homes have been destroyed, and on the remote island of Galoa, the local school all but flattened. Today, the rebuild is underway. Aussie soldiers working hand in hand with Fijian locals to make sure classrooms are prepared for students come term 1 on January 18. Of course, amidst the effort, the crew have had to contend with COVID. All members were swabbed on departure, and there is a fully equipped testing lab on board the ship.
As parents prepare for their children to go back to school, new data reveals it's costing more than ever when shopping for supplies. Maggie Rayworth explains.
If you think the price of sending your child to school is going up, then you're not alone. According to a new report, it's now more expensive than it was last year.
Really surprised to see such a significant price hike in the cost of back to school this year.
The Back to School 2020 report conducted by YouGov on behalf of Big W found parents expect to spend an average of $592 on school supplies per child. That's an increase of $54 on last year. Parents are also planning to spend an average of $284 on tech items per child. That's 17% more than they did in 2019. Tech devices and sporting gear bring the total expected average to $970 per child for the 2021 school year, 12% more than last year. Due to the pandemic, parents now have to fork out for items their children would usually share with others.
As a result of the pandemic, we've certainly seen a lot more people having to buy products they probably didn't have to do in the past. We looked at last year, Officeworks had a particularly very strong year because of homeschooling.
Schools have moved towards more online platforms and also obviously, they're not sharing their supplies. So there is a little bit of extra things for people to buy this year.
According to the study, overall 83% of parents find back to school shopping stressful. The need to visit multiple stores adds pressure, and having the kids present doesn't help either. Retail experts say there are ways to make the experience cheaper and easier. They suggest shopping around and taking advantage of sales.
Gut-wrenching footage has captured the moment two base jumpers leapt off the roof of an outdoor bar of the Grand Hyatt in the US city of Nashville. The two daredevils causing widespread panic for patrons who watched the event unfold. Both men glided down to the street below, managing to land safely. We'll have all your weather details next. Right now, here's a look at what's happening in tonight's 9 News at 6.
Good afternoon. Tonight in 9 News, more COVID clinics rush to reopen as thousands of Queenslanders answer the call to isolate and get tested. We reveal the latest on the growing clusters down south, including the latest on Lyle Shelton, who's been slammed by police for being a smart aleck, bragging about his sneaky trip across the border and back. Queensland housing values are bucking the national trend with a surprising increase. We'll reveal the best suburbs in the southeast. Cyclone Imogen has smashed into far north Queensland. Incredible pictures of the deluge and destruction, and why back to school costs are set to soar this year. We have the tips and tricks on how to save. The details on those stories tonight at 6.
Don't run out of data this summer with Vodafone's $30 prepaid plus plan. Get a huge 40 gigabytes total data on your first 3 recharges, then infinite data to browse at speeds of up to 1.5 megabits per second until your recharge expires. You rule with Vodafone.
When something goes wrong and you're injured on the road, you need the right advice. Contact Shine Lawyers to access compensation through your superannuation.
Yeah, I've heard Shine can help.
Shine Lawyers, let's right wrong.
I'm giving a shout out to the Beds R Us New Year sale. And as far as sales go, it's going to be huge. Up to 50% off beds, bedroom furniture, Australian-made mattresses and adjustable beds. The Beds R Us New Year shout out sale on now.
This year we were searching for something, not far away from home, but far away from our daily routine. What we found was an amazing place, space to have fun and privacy, time to recharge our batteries. The moments that make Australia.
Find more than you're searching for. Trivago. Compare accommodation offers from the leading brands worldwide and find the right deal for you. Hotel, holiday home, family time. Trivago.
Electricians, install Red smoke alarms with a 10-year warranty and wireless smoke alarm controller. Better value for you and your customers. Ask your electrical wholesaler about Red smoke alarms.
Let's get to work. James Jacks, will you look at that?
I told you to pay attention to the road.
Clearly this wasn't my fault. Maybe not, but you've taken a wrong turn on this one. Your insurance policy is monstrous.
You know, if you had Budget Direct car insurance, you'd get a hire car while yours gets repaired. And you could save hundreds.
Are we there yet?
Not at fault. Get a hire car while yours gets repaired. Just give us the other driver's details. Budget Direct. Insurance solved.
G'day, Dave Andrews here in the Hyundai Traffic Chopper. Not too many dramas on the roads this afternoon, although a car did go into a power pole on Gympie Road heading outbound. Left-hand lane is still blocked just outside the Lutwich Cemetery, and they're waiting on Energex to come and fix up the pole. But at this stage, just some slight delays back to about Stafford Road. The Hyundai sale event is on now. Experience all the best sides, including stunning value on selected models in the Hyundai range. Don't miss out. Test drive a Hyundai today. I'll be back to check the roads again for you shortly.
A quick look at tomorrow's weather. 32 and sunny in Brisbane, a shower or two in Sydney and Canberra, 27 degrees. Rain in Melbourne and Hobart too. Temperatures in the early 20s. Grey skies in Adelaide, 24 degrees, 36 degrees, and sunny in Perth, and a possible storm in Darwin with a top of 33 degrees. And that is 9's afternoon news. Our next bulletin is at 6 o'clock. I'm Kate Creedon. Thanks so much for your company. Have a great evening. We'll see you soon.